Mccracken County Fiscal Court meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Here.
Commissioner Byer.
Here.
Commissioner Walden.
Here.
And Judge Leeper.
Here. Commissioner Byer, could you lead us in a word of prayer, please?
Please, let us bow. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings of this day. We thank you, Lord, as we remember back on our veterans who sacrificed so much that we might have the rights to be here tonight. We ask that you continue to watch over the veterans who are on foreign soils, protecting all of our liberties and rights. We also thank you, our Heavenly Father, for watching over our public servants, and especially our public servant, Roger Simons, as he went about protecting the public and encountered the very dangerous situation. We ask that you continue to watch over and be with each one of the public servants who take care of our citizens in this community. Ask that you give us wisdom tonight and help guide us, that all our decisions will be for the best of you and for the citizens of this county. All of these things we ask in your name and for your sake. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. We have a couple of different sets of minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the October 23rd meeting of the Mccracken County Fiscal Court.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Bartleman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Minutes are approved. Then we have the October 16th workshop. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the joint workshop on October the 16th.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. We also have the minutes from the November 1st, 2017 Fiscal Court meeting, special call meeting. I would entertain a motion for approval of the minutes. Motion by Commissioner Wathen, second by Commissioner Bartleman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion is approved. Thank you, gentlemen. Next, we have items for discussion. First, we have Randy Williams with our road department, our road engineer.
All right. I know it's a busy agenda tonight, so I'll make this one brief. Since I was here last time, we've done quite a bit to get ready for the winter weather. All of our equipment's been checked out. We already had it since early in the summer. We've got 1,000 tons of salt on hand. We've got spare parts and a few others on order, just in case something goes down. We're ready to replace it as quick as we can. Something that we are looking at doing different this winter is we're looking at some different types of plow blades. In the past, we've used a standard steel blade. They cost around $200 each. One of the blades that we're looking at is a carbide steel blade. They do cost about $750, but they do last about 10 times longer. And I'm not going off of just what the salesman says either. I'm going off of what people that actually use them say. So, I mean, just the blade alone would be money ahead in the long run. And also, you've got to look at the big picture of standard blade. If a driver is having to stop and plying his route and come in and change blades out, you're really down at a prime time that you need to be out there plowing. So something that's going to last a lot longer, we're really going to get a lot more bang for our buck. For an update on Maxon Road, the weather has slowed things down, but they are continuing to work. They're doing a lot of concrete work right now. In fact, they are pouring curb and gutter. They've been doing driveways. And they've also been forming up the head wall for the inlet side of the bridge that's going in. They are still telling me, in fact, I talked to them today, that they are planning on getting a base course of asphalt down over over what's out there before winter. So it'll be a lot better to drive over that than having to maintain rock for them all winter long. Something new that's going on is Judge Lieber and I have been talking about trying to come up with a policy for dealing with signs on the right-of-way. We really don't have the manpower to go out and look for this kind of stuff, but where the crews are going out doing work, whether it's ditching or mowing or cutting brush back, if they encounter a sign, this is the way we're leaning right now, if they encounter a sign where they're working, they'll pull the sign, bring it back to the shop, and we'll leave it at our shop the entire following week and give the owner of the sign a chance to come by and pick it up if they do so want it. That'll also help clean up some of our old signs that are out there, the old yard sale signs or where old ship has gone missing. So you see those up a lot. But we're still trying to come up with finalize a policy on that. But safety would be something that we would want to go out as quick as we could and get that picked up if a sign's causing you to not be able to see to pull out of a road. So we'll keep you updated on that. Last thing I have is I want to make sure to say thanks to the Sheriff's Department. We are having training for our crew tomorrow. It's going to be an active shooter training at our facility. It's not just going to be the road department, but it's going to be everybody at the emergency management complex that's going to be at this. So really appreciate them doing that. It's a shame we need that kind of training, but it is needed. So be glad to try to answer any questions you want to ask.
I want to compliment you, Randy, for your response a couple of weeks ago. There was a stop sign down in my subdivision, and I called you, and I went out about 30 minutes later, and it was already repaired. I know it's important to repair those things as quick as you can, but it was a Saturday, and I just appreciate your quick response to that, and it just did a good job on it. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You got to get on those pretty quick.
Yeah.
On the signs, I'd like to mention one of the things that got Randy and I talking about it was a call from a constituent who had a concern about a group, a nonprofit that was putting signs up on his right-of-way. He was out trying to mow and he has to move, and he had called them and they said, well, nonprofits are exempt from the laws. Well, I thought I'd better check on it before I told them what I really thought, and found out that they are not exempt from the laws. It's still littering. It's still dangerous to our employees and the public as they try to mow around all these signs that people stick out. Most nonprofits will put them up for a fish fry and pick them up, and they're not, but a lot of them will just leave them lingering. You see more of them out on the state right-of-way, which we're not responsible for and not allowed to take responsibility for, but we do see them occasionally on the county right-of-way. It's one of my pet things. I'll confess. My wife will tell you on Friday nights before Election Day, she and I have gone out many times to pick up signs that well-meaning helpers have gone out and put my signs out on the right-of-way, and we didn't appreciate it, so we have to go out on Friday night and pick them up because we've always been driven not to do that. I felt if we were going to run for an office that upholds the law, we shouldn't be breaking them on the Friday before the Election Day. So if you'll watch, you'll see it happen, and it's not appropriate. And so it's kind of one of my pet peeves. And so Randy is working with me to try to get a policy that's fair and consistent to everybody. I've also had policies applied unfairly, and that's not appropriate either. But it's a significant safety issue, and it's just a basic, it's littering basically, and people that are running for office and people that are trying to apply for whatever these other people putting signs out for need to abide by the rules. And so we're going to work on something and make sure you all are aware of it before we put it into place. But just want to make you aware that we're working on it. If you've got any ideas or comments, now's a good time to share them with us. Thank you, man.
And to add to that, I mean, this applies to county roads. I mean, what the state does on theirs or the city does on theirs, you know, that's not us. So.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, we've had some presentation on this issue before, but it's kind of taken a new development. We've got Luis Diaz, and he's one of the council counselors on this project that we've had before us before. They've come back with an issue. Lewis, if you'd like to come over here and kind of explain to us. They've come back with a pilot agreement and trying to move this issue forward. This involves the change of ownerships of numerous housing properties, multifamily housing properties in the community, some in the city, some in the county outside the city, and actually a couple of them are in Murray-Callaway, are all involved in this. But they've worked with the Kentucky Housing Corporation. I don't want to say too much so you don't have to correct me, but to come up with a strategy, because one of our concerns was the loss of tax revenue. And so they worked with the Kentucky Housing Corporation to try to alleviate that concern. I had a couple more questions from them, and they were offered to come tonight and talk about the issue once again. And if you want to rebrief what I just stumbled through, I'd appreciate
Judge,
it.
I thought you were doing a wonderful job with that. The issue really stems from the nature of the borrower. Normally, government doesn't get involved between a buyer and a seller, but in this case, the buyer is a nonprofit corporation, and they've asked the Commonwealth to issue tax-exempt bonds for the benefit of the buyer. And in a normal situation, that would be a private activity bond, and you would get private activity bond volume cap for that. But in this instance, because the buyer is 100% nonprofit, the Kentucky Housing Corporation, in considering the bond issue, realized that all of these projects would benefit would have the benefit of tax exemption under the state's constitutional scheme, where a nonprofit engaging in a housing activity would be eligible to apply for an exemption effective January 1st of the next subsequent year of the transfer. And so what the State Housing Corporation did is that they worked with your local representative, your local senator, to see under what situations the state would be comfortable, because every deal, every bond issue that KHC does has to go through the State Property Building Commission and the Capital Projects and Bond Oversight Committee. And the conclusion was that the Housing Corporation determined that they would issue the bonds if the developer would agree to make payments in lieu of taxes. The expectation is that they will file for an exemption, and whether they receive an exemption or not is really within the purview of your local PBA. That's a separate application. They have to apply for that, and the PBA will make their determination. But if a determination is made that the project will be exempt, the pilot kicks in and forces the developer, the new owner, to make payments in lieu of those taxes. And the agreement with, or at least what Kentucky Housing did in looking at the transaction, looking at the underwriting, and looking at what the property had been paying for taxes, is it created a system where it would continue to make the base payment of taxes with a 2% escalator on an ongoing basis every year. The second thing that they did is, because your tax lien is normally superior to other liens that might be filed against the property, they required that the developer make a deposit within the trust indenture for an escrow fund to pay for taxes, so that if, let's say in June of next year, the property goes into default, or the properties go into default, and they're no longer making payments into the reserve for taxes to make the pilot payment, there's a separate reserve that's not pledged to the bondholders that can make those tax payments. And the reserve was sized up sufficiently so that if there's a foreclosure process on any or all the sites, there'd be enough money to pay for taxes during the foreclosure process. So this was the state's best attempt to accommodate the request for tax exemption while also trying to preserve your local tax base.
Any questions? One of the things that would be, I know on the pilot agreement, did I give you all? I didn't. The sheriff's signature is required on that.
That is something that the rating, these bonds are rated by Standard & Poor, and Standard & Poor, we approached them, we were going to have the trustee within the trust estate sign the pilot agreement, because ultimately it's the trustee that's receiving the money, collecting the money, and then issuing the payment. It was the Finance Cabinet and KHC's preference that we pay the sheriff, because the sheriff is the normal body that collects taxes on behalf of all your local taxing authorities. And once that determination was made, S&P asked that we have the sheriff sign on to the pilot agreement to evidence that they would receive payment. The way that we've structured the pilot agreement is that we had the sheriff participate as a consenting party, but there are no obligations for the county or the county sheriff with respect to the agreement. All they have to do is receive the money. The agreement doesn't talk about what the sheriff is to do with the funding. Once it's received, that really is a local matter for you all to discuss. I will say that it's obviously the state's preference that the money be used in the way that it would normally be used as you received it if it were paid as taxes. But the agreement doesn't talk about that, nor is it our desire to really get into the weeds on that.
Is the in lieu of tax payment, is the valuation the same as what it would be if it was on the tax rolls?
We looked, the numbers based on what the property was reporting to have been paying taxes in the previous years, and then KHC looked at what the model looks like going forward and what they can afford to pay.
So it's not based on the sale price then, it's based on the previous assessment?
That's correct. The goal is to preserve your tax base, but there is an escalator added to there as well, so you're automatically getting a 2% step up every year. And for the record, gentlemen, lady, I am working as bond counsel on the transaction. I don't represent the developer. My client in the transaction is the issuer of the bonds. It's the Kentucky Housing Corporation.
So the benefit then of them doing this is a lower interest rate?
It's a lower interest rate to the borrower. That's what they're getting out of this. If the transaction went for taxable financing, they could still do the deal. It might cost them a little more in interest from the borrower standpoint, but we would no longer have a mechanism to bring the pilot payments back to the county.
And does the in lieu of tax payment, is that for all of the local taxing districts?
That's what it was set up.
So it'd be the schools, and if it's in a fire district, county,
Yes,
library, community college.
that is correct, sir.
How about the state? Does the state get any in lieu of tax payments?
No, sir. It's all going
Just
to
the local governments? And is this part of it that it's, as long as the nonprofit owns it, could they come back in 3 years and say, we've changed our mind and stop paying it?
The technical answer to that question is yes. The state's ability to force behavior here is associated with the bonds. As long as the bonds are outstanding, the owner has to pay for the pilot payment. Now, the bonds will have a lockout period that they can't be refinanced, but if the properties were sold or if the bonds were paid off, the state would lose the ability to keep the pilot in place. But that's no different than if it were a private transaction without the issuance of bonds.
So if they came back in 3 years and wanted to, could they redo the bonds within 2 or 3 years if they wanted?
They could. It's unlikely, but if they did, I mean, this is probably the first time in 20 years that KHC's Kentucky Housing Corporation has looked at a pure tax-exempt financing for a 501c3. And so this is effectively the policy going forward, that they will require pilot payments. So even if they came back through to redo the financing and they did it with the same structure, they would still require a pilot. If they came back through and redid the financing with low-income housing tax credits and did a more full recapitalization of the projects, then by the nature of that project, they would no longer qualify for the exemption under state law, because to use tax credits, you've got to have an investor, and that destroys the pure public charity nature of the exemption that the Constitution allows for.
Is this considered a low-income housing transaction?
Currently, it would be. The properties would have to, once the bonds are issued, 40% of the units on the property would have to be affordable to people at 60% of the area median income. And as I understand it, the properties already comply with those use restrictions, so there should be no displacement of existing tenants.
Does the fiscal court have to vote on this, or are you just trying to get our verbal blessing?
I don't know that. I mean, I can give you my position, and that may be different from your county attorney's position, so I don't want to overstep. I don't know that necessarily action is required, but certainly I want the fiscal court, as does the judge, to be informed about the pilot agreement, so that everyone knows what's going on and the sheriff is comfortable in signing it.
Okay.
There's Callaway County and Murray, have they taken a position on this yet?
My colleague Daniel Briscoe has been the one that's in direct contact with Murray and Callaway, and he and I haven't spoken about them today. They've not taken action as of yet, so I can't offer you precedent from Callaway County.
Appreciate it. Any questions? Thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, other than the transaction is trying very hard to close within the month of November, so the reason that, Judge, you're probably getting a little pressure from Daniel and others may be because of the timeline for the buyer and seller wanting to effectuate the transfer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Very good. All right, there are no more discussion items at this time. We'll move on to the budget transfers.
It's ordered to make the following cash transfers in order to pay the county bills approved November 13th, 2017 in the amount of $134,540.10.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask the clerk call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye. Accounts payable, Mr. Treasurer.
It's ordered to approve the vouchers claim register from October 23rd, 2017 to November 13th, 2017 to show county bills in the amount of $830,815.13.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Wathen, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask the clerk call the roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye. Court orders, Madam Clerk.
It is ordered to amend the Mccracken County Clerk's office budget for page 2, lines 17 and 21, page 3, lines 20 and 39, and page 5, line 58.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer,
Second.
second by Commissioner Wathen. Discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the Mccracken County Clerk's summary report of delinquent tax collection and distributions for October 2017, in the amount of $117,873.94.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen, second by Commissioner Bartleman. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the Mccracken County Clerk's financial statement for September 2017, in the amount of $144,919.42.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the Mccracken County Clerk's monthly report of ad valorem tax collection and distribution for October 2017, in the amount of $510,166.21.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Bartleman, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the Mccracken County Clerk's deed transfer tax report for the month of October 2017, the amount of $31,040.30.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to pay the Mccracken County Humane Society $18,125 for the month of November 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen,
Second.
second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to pay the fiscal court clerk $50 for the month of November 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner
Second.
Byer, second by Commissioner Bartleman. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to approve the monthly distribution to the Mccracken County Conservation District for November 2017 in the amount of $2,446.92.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen,
Second.
second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Seeing none, ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to pay Energy Systems Group LLC invoice number 020-0010726 in the amount of $13,000 for payment of the Energy Systems Group Support Service Agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Discussion. Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the resignation of part-time Animal Control Officer Sherry Turner effective May 23rd, 2017. She has no sick or vacation time.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Barman, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that a bid opening was held at 10:05 a.m. on November 3rd, 2017 at the Mccracken County Courthouse for Floral Hall at Carson Park exterior improvements. Bids were received from Mid-States Construction and Better All Around. The two bids were taken under advisement.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to award the bid for Carson Park Floral Hall exterior improvements to Better All Around, 751 York Lane, Paducah, Kentucky, 42003 for $28,900.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen, second
Second.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Question.
Question.
How did this, pretty close to estimates of what you thought it would be? Is this did you do estimates on this?
I was
We-
thinking somewhere around $25,000.
We originally kind of took a guess on what it would be and asked some people what thought they knew, and it was around 25, which meant
That's pretty
we had
close.
to go out to bid, so
Yeah.
at that point, we went out to bid.
So it's pretty close. Okay, all right, thank you.
This is a project of actually reparation or repairing the outside of the building where it's, some of the outside is starting to rot a little bit. So it's not, while it's improvements, it's improving some rotting structures, not changing anything that doesn't need to be changed. So,
So you're going to make it better all around then, right?
well, I don't know if we'll go all the way around, but we'll bet it on two sides anyway.
You didn't get the pun, that's the name of the company.
Well, I didn't want to
Didn't
get
wanna
advertising
acknowledge.
fees.
Okay, thank you.
Have we voted on this?
No.
Let's do that right now.
Commissioner
Please.
Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen. And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to approve the sheriff's official receipt for property tax bills for 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to pay Julie Griggs, Mccracken County Clerk, $5,064.90, one half of the sum of $33,766 bills at 30 cents each, as the county clerk's share of the clerk's compensation for preparation of the 2017 real estate and tangible tax bills. The state will compensate an equal share per statute, KRS 133.240.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Barman, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that a bid opening was held on October 2nd at 2:30 p.m. in the office of the Judge Executive for 3 2018 Ford Police Interceptor SUV model vehicles for the Mccracken County Sheriff's Office. One bid in the amount of $28,785 per unit, totaling $86,355, was received from Paducah Ford, 3476 Park Avenue, Paducah, Kentucky, 42001, and taken under advisement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Barman, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to reject the bid from Paducah Ford, 3476 Park Avenue, Paducah, Kentucky, 42001, on 3 2018 Ford Police Interceptor SUV model vehicles for the Mccracken County Sheriff's Office.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask clerk call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to purchase 3 2018 Ford Police Interceptor SUV model vehicles for the McCracken County Sheriff's Office from Paul Miller Ford, 975 East New Circle Road, Lexington, Kentucky, 40505. The vehicles will be purchased at $27,033.58 per unit, totaling $81,100.74 at a Kentucky state price contract.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byers, second by Commissioner Wathen. Discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen? Aye. Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to purchase a John Deere 6110M cab tractor for $81,746.50, a 620R John Deere loader for $8,029.56, and an AP13D pallet fork for $1,143.90, totaling $90,919.96 off the state price contract from Hudson Inc. for the McCracken County Road Department.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that John Coleman be hired as a full-time road deputy at an annual salary of $43,000 less statutory deductions effective November 3rd, 2017. This includes the annual $4,000 incentive pay for POPS certified officers.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Bartleman, second. Second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that Nathan Whipple be hired as a part-time temporary sheriff's office tax clerk at a rate of $10 per hour effective November 15th, 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that Garrett Webb, part-time child support caseworker, be changed to full-time employee effective December 1st, 2017. She will make $22,000 per year or $11.28 per hour for 1,950 hours per year less statutory deductions.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen,
Second.
second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that child support caseworker Britanna Finke's salary will increase from $23,000 to $24,150 or $12.38 per hour for 1,950 hours per year less statutory deductions effective October 16th, 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Watson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Bartleman. Any discussion? Ask the clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that child support caseworker Jamie Joyner's salary will increase from $22,000 to $23,100 or $11.85 per hour for 1,950 hours per year less statutory deductions effective November 16th, 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Any discussion? Ask the clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to enter into an agreement with McMurray and Livingston as legal counsel for McCracken County Board of Adjustments.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen, second by Commissioner Bartleman. Any discussion? Ask the clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the McCracken County Treasurer's financial statement for October 2017.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion by Commissioner Bartleman, second by Commissioner
Byer.
Byer. Any discussion? Ask the clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the revised September financial statement from the October 23rd, 2017 fiscal court meeting.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Bartleman. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered to pay Jackson Purchase Energy Corporation $19,684.25 for relocation of their equipment for the Maxon Road Improvement Project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Byers, second by Commissioner Watson. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the resignation of Stevie Turner, part-time litter abatement supervisor, effective November 13th, 2017. He has no sick or vacation days.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Watson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered that effective November 14th, 2017, Stevie Turner be hired as full-time custodial personnel at an hourly rate of $10.57 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Bartleman, second by Commissioner Watson. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the resignation of Elizabeth Banks, full-time custodial personnel, effective November 13th, 2017. She is to be paid for 2 vacation days and has 3 sick days credited to the Kentucky retirement system.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Byers, second by Commissioner Watson. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll, please.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered that effective November 4th, 2017, Cody Bryson be hired as a full-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $12.25 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered that effective November 1st, 2017, Robert Elder be hired as a full-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $15 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Bartleman, second by Commissioner Watson. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered that effective November 4th, 2017, Joshua Thweet be hired as a full-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $12 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner
Second.
Byers, second by Commissioner Watson. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered that effective October 31st, 2017, Lonnie Hill be hired as a full-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $12.50 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Bartleman. All those in favor, no, we're going to skip that. We're just going to ask if there's any comments or questions. Being done, we'll ask clerk to call roll.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered that effective November 5th, 2017, Jessica Poe be hired as a full-time deputy jailer at an hourly rate of $13 per hour, less statutory deductions, all of which are subject to further order of the court.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byers, second.
Second.
Commissioner Watson. Any discussion? Ask clerk to call roll.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered to accept the resignation of full-time Corporal Deputy Jailer Joel Kennedy, effective October 27th, 2017. He is to be paid for 20 vacation days and to have 19 sick days credited to the Kentucky retirement system.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second.
Second.
Commissioner Byer. Discussion? Ask clerk to call roll.
Commissioner Bartleman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen.
Aye.
And Judge Lieber.
Aye.
It is ordered that the bid for the Mccracken County Jail medical contract be awarded to Southern Health Partners for the period of December 1st, 2017 through November 30th, 2018.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Discussion. Ask clerk call the roll.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
And Judge Lee.
Aye.
It is ordered to pay $988.40 less statutory deductions to Joseph Denton, Road Department employee, for 40 hours of vacation pay at a rate of $24.71 per hour.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Bartleman. Any discussion? Ask clerk call the roll, please.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to pay $988.40 less statutory deductions to Anthony Tony Boyd, Road Department employee, for 40 hours of vacation pay at the rate of $24.71 per hour.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wathen,
Second.
second by Commissioner Byer. Discussion. Ask clerk call the roll.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered to pay $965.73 less statutory deductions to Shane Hobgood, Road Department employee, for 40 hours of vacation pay at a rate of $23.44 per hour.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Discussion. Ask clerk call the roll, please.
Commissioner Byer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wathen?
Aye.
Commissioner Bartleman?
Aye.
And Judge Leeper.
Aye.
It is ordered that pursuant to KRS Chapter 67, the first reading of ordinance number 2017-07 shall be conducted in summary format as follows.
So moved.
An ordinance amending the Mccracken County zoning and subdivision regulations set forth in Mccracken County ordinance number 2015-09 as amended by making revisions and amendments to the zoning regulations dealing with definitions, district regulations related to light industry and heavy industry zones, construction certification relating to stormwater conveyance and management, and to the administration and enforcement provisions dealing with amendment and development plans. Further, this ordinance makes revisions and amendments to the subdivision regulations related to preliminary plat approval procedure, fee schedules, and the procedure for effectuating the regulations, and any future revision and amendment to the same. Summary. The present ordinance makes revisions to the Mccracken County zoning regulation ordinance by amending the following sections. 1, Section 21, definitions. 2, Section 35, mobile home parks. 3, Section 46, light industry zone, ML. 4, Section 47, heavy industry zone, MH. 5, Section 62, fee schedules. 6, Section 69, construction certifications. 7, Section 74, amendments and developmental plans. Additionally, this ordinance makes amendments and revisions to the Mccracken County subdivision regulations in relation to the following sections. 1, Section 31.11, procedure for preliminary plat approval, and 2, Section 62, fee schedules. It is hereby certified by the Mccracken County Fiscal Court that the present summary represents an accurate official statement of the main points of and contents of ordinance number 2017-07. Ordinance number 2017-07 shall be available for public inspection in its whole and complete form in the Mccracken County Judge Executive's office during ordinary business hours.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Byer, second by Commissioner Wathen. Just as a point of information, this is obviously the first reading. We have 3 gentlemen in the audience that can answer any questions you have tonight or you have in the future. This has been through the zoning board. They've given it their stamp of approval. I don't think there was a dissenting opinion in the zoning board, but I encourage you to read through the ordinance if you have time between now and the next time we get to vote on this.
Is this basically housekeeping, or is it more than that?
Other than section,
This is Greg Cannon. He's in charge of our planning and zoning.
pretty much everything on here is housekeeping. Section 74 on here, the amendments and development plans, the way that was originally written, you had two types of development plans. You had a preliminary and a final development plan, different criteria for each. This cleans that up where now you have a criteria for a development plan. Preliminary is now when it's initially submitted. Final was when it comes through the final time around. That clears up a lot of confusion on what's required and when. So that whole section was rewritten, but everything else is pretty straightforward, just cleaning up. Like the fee schedule, we just cleaned up duplicate information out of there, and that cut the fee schedule by a quarter in length.
Were there any comments at the hearing that the Planning and Zoning board had when they discussed it? Were there any concerns expressed by any developers?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Have we had a vote? Let's have a vote.
Alrighty. Commissioner Waddin. Aye. Commissioner Hardeman.
Aye.
Commissioner Byer.
Aye.
And Judge Lippert.
Aye. Before we go, we have board appointments, excuse me. Madam Clerk, would you like to do the board appointments?
I'd love to.
Thank you.
It is ordered to appoint Lynn Mansfield to the West Mccracken Water District Commission effective December 1st, 2017, and expiring December 1st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Watson, second by Commissioner Byer. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion's approved. Before we go into executive session, we will need executive session. I want to allow commissioners to make any comments, and I know Commissioner Bartleman, you would like to lead off, and you have some comments.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. I wanted to comment on an incident that occurred last Thursday in which a deputy sheriff was traveling on Interstate 24, going to Marshall County to pick up an inmate. As he crossed the county line, a car went speeding by him at a high rate of speed and was subsequently involved in a wreck. The deputy stopped to help, and a series of events occurred where he stole the deputy's vehicle and was in a high-speed chase, I guess, from the state police, wrecked later on and caught fire. The deputy involved was Roger Simon. Roger's here tonight working again after just 5 or 6 days. We're glad to see you, Roger, and appreciate the work you've done, and we're just prayerfully thankful for your safety. I've known you, Roger, since you came as you were a young trooper, and I was a young reporter. I remember meeting you in the courthouse back when you first came to Mccracken County, and were assigned there. I've had a concern for a long time about the halfway house that exists on, I think it's on South 7th Street, and the operation of that halfway house. In a previous life when I was a reporter, some of the final stories that I wrote were about the halfway house. In 2010, there were 8 escapes from there within, I think, 3 or 4 months. There was an investigation that was occurred. They were supposed to clean things up, and I don't know if that happened or not. I have 2 concerns. Number one is the concern of the Department of Corrections and their assignment of inmates to that facility, of whether or not they are worthy of being housed in a very unsecure facility where there's a limited number of guards and things like that. Number 2 concern is the actual operation of the center and the training of people. Again, it's been a problem for a long time. Today I talked to representatives of 2 or 3 different police agencies who have similar concerns, and I fear that it's a tragedy waiting to happen from people, inmates escaping from that facility. There's a number of not only escapes, there's contraband that's found among the inmates in there, who some of them go out and on work release programs and come back and have drugs and other things they shouldn't have in there. State police told me that they receive a lot of calls from there they have to investigate. One of the concerns is if an inmate escapes from there, under the protocol of the way the Department of Corrections operates that, the state police are called. And the sheriff's office is located 4 or 5 blocks from there. The Paducah police are located within a mile of there, and they're not notified. Only if the state police dispatchers have the time and take the effort to call, or the local police notified. So somebody could escape from there. The state police are called, and there's not even any troopers assigned full-time to Mccracken County anymore. So if someone escapes from there, They could drive by the sheriff's office, they could drive by city police officers are on patrol, and nobody would know even to be on the lookout for them. Again, it's been a long time concern of mine as a reporter and as a commissioner. As a commissioner, I really haven't been in the loop of things that have gone on there, but I've asked for some information from different agencies to find out how many escapes and incidents there have been at that center. In the meantime, today I sent a letter to the Secretary John Tilley in the Justice and Protection Cabinet. He's the Secretary of the Cabinet. I made a couple calls to the Department of Corrections. They are now without a commissioner, so it was hard to find out who I really needed to talk to about it. I was referred to some different people. If I could take a minute, Judge, I'd like to read the letter that I've sent to Secretary Tilley today, and I'll email it to him tomorrow. I was going to email it today, but they told me that his email address was confidential, but I think I'll be able to get it. But anyway, the letter says, Dear Secretary Tilley, one of the top priorities of elected officials in Mccracken County is to do all we can to protect not only the residents of Mccracken County, but residents of the entire Commonwealth. As a Mccracken County Commissioner and during my previous 39-year career as a reporter for the Paducah Sun, one of my greatest safety concerns for the community has been the operation of the Paducah Community Center, the halfway house operated by Keaton Corrections. It has a long history of inmate incidents and escapes. The most recent incident was on Thursday, November 9th, 2017, when a Keaton inmate escaped, stole a car, crashed on I-24, assaulted the deputy sheriff, stole the deputy's cruiser, traveled at speed in excess of 120 miles an hour, crashed again, and totaled the vehicle owned by Mccracken County. It was only by the grace of God that no law enforcement officer or innocent citizen suffered serious injury. It is my understanding that the inmate in question has an extensive criminal record that includes felony gun possession, fleeing from police, and other serious felonies. I also understand that at the time, the inmate had an outstanding felony warrant from Tennessee, which raises serious concerns and questions as to why he was placed in a halfway house with limited security. There's a long history of what appears to be poor management of the Paducah Community Center halfway house, including questions about employee training, inmate oversight, and supervision. The long history of escapes and safety threats to the community is documented in press clippings and should be well documented in the Department of Correction records. I fear that the poor operation of the center is a tragedy waiting to happen. The Justice Cabinet and the Department of Corrections need to take action before some innocent citizen or law enforcement officer suffers a serious injury or death. I request that you or your designee and the Department of Corrections personnel involved in overseeing the operation of the halfway houses and the assignment of inmates to Keaton Correctional Facility in Paducah come to Paducah for a meeting to discuss the halfway house operation by Keaton and answer questions. Local law enforcement officials shared their concern about the halfway house and echoed the need for a meeting which they will attend. Mccracken County Sheriff John Hayden expressed his concerns about the most recent incident and the history of Keaton operation on his department's Facebook page. If you or the DOC, Department of Corrections staff, are unable to come to Paducah, we will come to Frankfort. The meeting needs to be held sooner rather than later, and I ask that it be held no later than December 1st, 2017. I look forward to hearing from you no later than Friday, November 17th. I think it's important that we meet face-to-face rather than exchange emails or talk over the telephone so that we can hear and see the policies and procedures of the Department of Corrections. And I also would hope that maybe somebody from Keaton Corrections would attend that meeting to talk about their operation. Again, I think it's been a long-time concern of mine when I was a newspaper reporter and as a commissioner. We need to do all we can to protect the citizens of our community. Where that community center is located, is on the south side of Paducah in an area that residents down there and the community has worked hard to resurrect that community. There's some new housing down there built within the last 5 or 6 years, and residents down there are taking pride in their community and working hard to fix up their houses down there. And I think we need to do what we can to protect down there. The capacity of that center is 101 inmates. And it's about a 3 or 4 story former school building. And if you go by there, the security, it's not real tight security down there. With this inmate that was involved in this incident with Roger, the Department of Corrections issued a statement to Channel 6 today talking about that this inmate had been paroled and they didn't have a place to go, so they were keeping him there, and that what they indicate was he was free to come and go. If someone is incarcerated in a Department of Corrections facility for whatever the reason, if they leave that facility, they've escaped, and the community needs to be notified, and the state police need to be notified. The state police and the sheriff's office and the city police were not notified of the escape of this person, and I think that's very serious. They've used that reasoning or excuse before that somebody was on parole or probation and that they needed a place to stay till they found a permanent home. In my knowledge of the probation and parole, one of the conditions of probation and parole is that people have a place to go and a community or a housing, and they look at all those things. If this inmate did not have a place to go, if they didn't have housing, I wonder why he was placed on probation or parole. He was paroled in the middle of October. It was October 16th or something like that, and less than a month later, he was involved in an incident in which he could have seriously injured Roger Simons, one of our deputy sheriffs. So I urge the Department of Corrections, I urge Secretary Tilley to respond to this request and come to Paducah where we can have a face-to-face meeting to discuss this. And again, I met with some other law enforcement agencies together today, and they encourage this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I think he said enough.
I think you
Covered it quite well.
covered it quite well. Any questions? This time, we're going to change. Normally, I like to take commissioners' comments once again after the executive session, but if any are when we don't have one, I'd like to do it before if y'all have any comments. I'd like to just say one thing. We had our veterans ceremony on Friday, and I'd like to thank a few folks for participating. I know we had two commissioners who unfortunately were scheduled to be out of town and at conference, and I know both of them were participating because they were emailing me and texting me for 3 days straight with ideas and thoughts that they had while they were at the conference. So I know they were participating and learning a lot, but unfortunately it fell in the day of Veterans Day remembrance. Commissioner Watson did do our comments, and I appreciate him doing that. We also had groups that always help us put that on, and that's the American Legion, the VFW. We had the Marine Corps League was there this year along with the Legion Riders, and we had some special music by a young man from Mccracken County High School, Sam Pallas. If you've never heard Sam sing, you missed out, and I hope you'll get an opportunity to do that. He's aspiring opera singer and looking for hopefully getting a scholarship to one of our U of L, and he's quite a young man. He took time out, even though they were leaving, to go play or I guess they may have had a home game, but I know he was kind of on a tight schedule. He's a football player also, and so he was willing to kind of put himself in a tight timeline to service, and I appreciate that very much. That being said, we do have a need for an executive session. I don't know whether or not we'll take action when we come out, so I can tell you we won't, but I can't tell you that tonight. That being said, Commissioner, if you would make a motion for us,
I hereby move that the board go into closed session for discussion of matters pertaining to the following topics: issues which might lead to the appointment, dismissal, or discipline of an employee as permitted by KRS 61-810-1F, or a specific proposal by a business entity for public discussion of the subject matter would jeopardize the location, retention, expansion, or upgrading of a business entity as permitted by KRS 61-810-1G.
Second.
a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. We'll be in executive session for a few minutes.